Hannah gasped. A rough hand clamped her mouth. Stale smoke filled her nose. She had just locked the bakery. The street was quiet. Then, a brutal pull. She stumbled back, hitting the wall. Her world tilted. Darkness from panic enveloped her. Fear, cold and sharp, lodged in her stomach. It felt like a nightmare, but the pain was horribly real. She struggled, twisting with all her might. Her small hands clawed at the arm around her waist. She kicked out, blindly. 2 of them. A muffled grunt. The grip tightened. A harsh whisper hissed, "Be still, girl. No one will hear you." A man's voice, deep, rough. It promised pain and silence. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She tasted blood. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not yet. She needed to think, to fight, to survive. The grip squeezed tighter. She couldn't breathe. Her vision flickered. Then a sharp tug at her neck. Her grandmother's silver locket was gone. A piece of her history. She felt the delicate chain snap. Heard a soft clink as metal hit the wet pavement. Then, a heavy cloth covered her head. Blackness. Sound faded. She felt herself lifted, roughly. Carried away. Into what? She didn't know. Her last thought was of the locket, lying on the cold street. A silent witness to her vanishing. Her safe world shattered. Miles away, Jalen Volkov moved. A shadow among shadows. His black sedan, sleek and silent, glided through rain-slicked streets. Inside, the air was thick with power. Jalen's face was sharp, etched with the hardness of a man who commanded respect and fear. His dark eyes missed nothing. He was a force, a king in his dark domain. Tonight, a restless unease stirred in him, a feeling he rarely had. He had just finished a late-night meeting. Something pulled at him. He told his driver to stop, wanting to walk the last block. His men fanned out behind him. He walked, cool night air biting his skin. The rain had stopped. Streets gleamed under streetlights, casting long shadows. Then, a glint. Something silver, small and out of place, caught his eye. It lay near the dark mouth of an alley. He stopped. His powerful frame bent. His large fingers picked up the item. A locket. Silver, tarnished but beautiful. The chain was broken, snapped roughly. He turned it over. The letters ER were etched onto the back, faint but clear. His gaze hardened, jaw tightening. This was no lost trinket. This was a piece of someone's life. Left behind. Violently. He looked at the alley. A scuff mark, a faint smear on the pavement. A story of struggle. A cold, hard anger built in his chest. Someone had been hurt. Someone had been taken. And this locket, this fragile piece of beauty, was the only clue. A direct challenge. "Report," he said. His voice, a low growl, cut through the quiet night. His men snapped to attention. "Find out who this belongs to, and who took them. Now." The command hung in the air. Heavy. Deadly. More than an order. A promise. A silent vow of brutal action. Jalen Volkov did not tolerate injustice in his city, especially not when it left such a clear personal mark. A delicate, broken piece of someone's world, lying on his street. He held the locket tight. The small, cold metal felt like a challenge. He would find them. Both the missing person and those who dared touch what was now his concern. The hunt had begun. A fragile life depended on his unyielding will. Hannah stirred slowly. Her head throbbed. A dull ache spread. Her eyes fluttered open. Darkness. She blinked, trying to see. Nothing but an inky blackness that pressed in on her. She tried to move her hands. Bound. Rough rope bit into her wrists. Her ankles were tied. Panic washed over her. Cold. Sharp. She couldn't breathe. Her heart hammered again, a desperate bird against bars. Where was she? The air was damp. It smelled like old earth and metal. A basement? A cellar? She pushed down the fear. She needed to be strong. For Grandma. For the bakery. For herself. She listened. Faint sounds. Drips of water. A distant hum. A furnace? A generator? She tried to shift. The floor was cold concrete, hard. Every small movement sent a jolt of pain. Her head spun. She remembered the locket. Her hand went to her neck. Empty. A pang of sadness hit her. It was gone. Her only link to her past, to her family. Now she felt alone. Lost. She squeezed her eyes shut. A single tear escaped, tracing a cold path down her temple. She would not cry. She needed to survive this. To get back. Jalen Volkov's office was quiet. A large man sat behind a dark desk. Eric, his second in command, stood before him. His face was grim. The locket lay on the polished wood. A small silver beacon in the powerful room. "Report," Jalen said. His voice was calm, but beneath it, a steel edge. Eric knew it well. "We found the bakery, boss," Eric began. "Hannah's Sweets, a small place. On the west side, quiet street, family business." Jalen picked up the locket. He traced the letters. "Hannah?" "Yes, sir. Hannah Rossi, 24 years old, runs the bakery, owned by her grandmother. No family, no connections to anyone in our world." Jalen leaned back, his gaze fixed on the locket. This made no sense. Why take a baker? A girl with no power, no money, no enemies. Not a usual move. Not for ransom. Not for revenge. Something else. "No known debts?" Jalen asked. "None we could find, boss. Pays suppliers on time. Small business loans, all up to date. She's clean, boss." A ghost. A muscle in Jalen's jaw tightened. A ghost. An innocent. This made it worse. Much worse. Someone had stepped out of line. Broken an unspoken rule. You don't touch the innocent. Not in his city. Not without reason. And if there was a reason, he would find it. "Check everything," Jalen commanded. His voice dropped. Low, dangerous. Every camera feed. Every neighbor. Every delivery driver. Who saw her? Who saw anything? "I want a timeline. From the moment she left the bakery to the moment she vanished." Eric nodded, his face serious. "On it, boss." "And her phone?" Jalen asked. "Left in the apartment above the bakery." We checked. She was alone. Jalen closed his hand around the locket, the cool metal pressed into his palm. It was small, fragile, like the girl it belonged to. He felt a flicker of something. Not pity, but fierce determination. This was his territory. This was his problem now. "Find her," Jalen said. His eyes were like flint. "Bring her back, unharmed, and find the men who took her. I want them to tell me why. Personally." Eric left. The silence returned. Jalen stared at the dark window. The city lights twinkled below. He knew this city. He knew its secrets. And this secret, this missing girl, was now his to uncover. He would turn the city upside down. He would find Hannah Rossi. He would find out who dared to take her. The hunt was just beginning. Brutal. Swift. Days bled into nights for Hannah. She lost track of time. Her world was a small, cold, dark room. Ropes chafed her wrists. Her body ached with constant tension. Fear was a cold companion. It lived in her bones. They brought her food, stale bread, lukewarm water. Enough to keep her alive. Not enough to feel human. She barely ate. Her stomach churned. Her captors rarely spoke. Their voices were harsh, unfeeling. They asked her nothing. They told her nothing. This silent treatment was worse than shouting. It made her feel like a thing, not a person. She tried to listen, to piece together clues. Sounds were always muffled. Distant traffic. Creak of old pipes. Sometimes she thought she heard dogs barking. Was she in the city? Or far outside it? She couldn't tell. Hope was a small, flickering flame, easy to extinguish. She thought of Grandma, of the bakery, the smell of fresh bread. The memory brought sharp pain and a fierce resolve. She had to get out. She wouldn't give up. One night, the door creaked open. A sliver of light cut through the dark. A man stood there, tall, shadowy, his face hidden. He carried a plate. "Eat," he grunted, his voice low, empty. Hannah flinched. She hadn't seen anyone clearly since she was taken. She looked at the food, cold, unappetizing. She shook her head. The man sighed, irritated. "Don't be stupid, girl. You need your strength." He set the plate near her feet. Then he left. Darkness returned. She stared at the plate. He was right. She needed strength. With bound hands, she reached out. Her fingers were clumsy. She broke off bread. It was dry, tasted like ash. But she forced herself to chew, to swallow. Every bite felt like a small victory, a defiance. She would not break. Jalen Volkov's network worked tirelessly. His men were everywhere. They combed the city. They spoke to everyone. Nothing. No leads. Hannah Rossi had simply disappeared. Jalen sat in his car, Eric beside him. They were driving past Hannah's bakery. Hannah's Sweets. A hand-painted sign. Charming. Innocent. The shop was dark, closed. A notice on the door. Closed for unexpected reasons. The words mocked him. "Anything new?" Jalen asked, his voice tight. Days had passed. Too many days. Eric shook his head. "Still nothing, boss. Ghost operation. No demands. No threats. No one claiming responsibility. Usually someone wants something." Jalen stared at the bakery. His mind raced. This wasn't money, or territory, or revenge. This was different. More disturbing. Someone took her for a specific reason. Not random. But what reason? He remembered the locket, the tiny ER. His grip tightened on the wheel. Deep, unfamiliar frustration. He was a man who always found answers. But this girl, she was a puzzle, a direct challenge to his control. "Expand the search," Jalen ordered. "Check the outskirts, abandoned warehouses, old industrial zones, anywhere a prisoner could be hidden without attracting attention, places off the grid." Eric nodded. Already started. "But it's a huge area, boss. A needle in a haystack. Then we make the haystack smaller," Jalen stated. His eyes narrowed. Think. Who would benefit from a baker disappearing? Who would want her gone? Not just taken, but completely erased. Eric thought for a moment. Rival bakery? No. Land dispute? Not that we found. Maybe someone wanted to buy her out? And she refused a persistent offer? Jalen considered this. A new line of thought. Look into any offers made on her property. Any attempts to acquire the bakery. Dig deep. Find everyone who had a reason, however small, however insignificant, to want her gone. Even if it seems trivial? Eric asked. Especially if it seems trivial, Jalen replied. His gaze fierce. The smallest things can hide the biggest secrets. Someone dared to take an innocent from my city. They will regret it. I will find her. And I will find them. And they will answer to me. The car sped away from the dark bakery. The hunt continued. More urgent. More ruthless. Jalen Volkov was a man on a mission. His targets had no idea of the storm. Hannah awoke to a harsh, grating noise, the sound of a heavy metal door being dragged open. Light, blinding, flooded her space. She squinted, eyes aching. A shadow fell over her. Taller than the man who brought her food. Bigger, more menacing. Get up, a voice commanded. deep, cold. This was not the same man. Someone new. Someone with real authority. Deadly. She tried to scramble up. Her stiff limbs protested. Her ankles were still bound. She stumbled. The man grabbed her arm, grip like iron. He pulled her upright, roughly. She gasped. They led her down a short, dark hallway. Then, through another door, into a larger room. Dimly lit. Bare concrete walls. A metal table in the center. 2 chairs. One empty. The other occupied. A man sat there. Older. His face sharp, intelligent, but devoid of warmth. His eyes, dark and piercing, fixed on her like a predator. He wore a finely tailored suit. Expensive. Powerful. He looked at her like dirt. Or worse, a nuisance. "So, you're the girl," he said. His voice smooth, oily. "Hannah Rossi." Hannah stared at him, heart pounding. This was it. The reason. The terrifying truth. "Who are you?" she whispered, voice hoarse, weak. The man smiled, an unpleasant curl of his lips. "My name is Jensen. And you, little baker, are causing me great trouble. A truly irritating amount." "Trouble?" Hannah asked, mind racing. She lived a simple life. "I don't even know you." Jensen chuckled, a dry, humorless sound. "Oh, but your bakery, my dear. It sits on valuable land. Land I want. Land I need. Essential to my plans. I made an offer. A very generous offer. And you, foolishly, refused." Hannah felt a shock. The bakery. That was it? Her grandmother's bakery, her home, her legacy. But it's my home, my grandmother's legacy. I can't sell it. Jensen's smile vanished. His eyes turned to ice. Can't or won't. Either way, it's a problem for me. Easily removed. Permanently. He gestured vaguely. No one says no to Jensen. Especially, not a simple baker. He stood up slowly, walked around the table, circling her like a predator. Hannah held her breath. "So, I removed you. And soon, your little bakery will be mine. No fuss, no refusal. A smooth acquisition. You kidnapped me for this?" Hannah's voice rose, disbelief mixed with fresh terror. "You can't just take people's property." Jensen laughed, cold and hard. "In my world, little girl, I can do anything I want. And now, you will agree to sell it. You will sign the papers. Or you will simply disappear. Permanently. And your bakery will still become mine." He looked at her, eyes unblinking. "Your choice, Hannah. Sign the papers. Or vanish." He pointed to papers on the table. A pen. The threat was clear. Stark. Utterly without mercy. Hannah felt a chill deeper than the cold room. She stared at the papers. Her future. Her past. All reduced to this choice. She looked at Jensen. His cruel face. She knew he meant it. Every chilling word. Jalen Volkov stood in front of a giant digital map of the city. Red dots blinked across it, each a property Jensen tried to acquire. Eric stood beside him. "Jensen," Jalen said, the name a venomous whisper. "He's been expanding. Aggressively. His usual method is persuasion. Not kidnapping and torture. Not typically." "It's a clear pattern, boss," Eric confirmed. "All properties in an area Jensen is developing. He wants to build a casino complex. The bakery is right in the middle. A stubborn obstacle." Jalen zoomed in on the map. Hannah's bakery. A tiny red dot, pulsing with importance. Surrounded by Jensen's acquisitions. The pieces clicked into place. Jensen had tried to buy it. Hannah refused. So, Jensen took her. To force her hand. To make her sign. A cold rage settled deep in Jalen's gut. Jensen was a low-level player. A snake. He operated on the fringes. He was not meant to touch the powerful. Or the innocent. He had crossed a line. A sacred line. "Find his holding locations," Jalen commanded, voice low. "Dangerous. His safe houses. His business offices. Any property he owns outside the usual. Any place he might keep a prisoner hidden." Anywhere he could hold her close to pressure, but hidden from usual eyes. Already started, boss, Eric said. His main HQ is fortified. Heavily. But he has smaller, less obvious spots. We're narrowing it down. Jalen walked to the window, looking out at the sleeping city below. Hannah Rossi. A name he hadn't known days ago. Now, a mission. A responsibility he felt deep in his bones. He held the broken locket, its cold weight a constant reminder. He would not let Jensen win. He would not let him hurt her. Jensen will learn a hard lesson tonight, Jalen stated, his eyes hard. You do not touch the innocent. Not in my city. Not ever. There will be consequences. The silent hunt was over. The strike was about to begin. Jalen Volkov was coming, a force of retribution, and Jensen had no idea of the devastating storm he had foolishly unleashed. Hannah stared at the papers, text blurring. Her hand trembled. Jensen watched her, cruel smirk in place. The pen felt like a death sentence. To sign meant losing everything. To refuse meant losing her life. Both options were an abyss. What's it going to be, Baker girl? Jensen purred. Tick-tock. My patience is thin, and my men are restless. She looked at him. Her eyes, filled with fear, also held a deep spark of defiance. You won't get away with this, she whispered, voice surprisingly clear. Jensen laughed, a short, contemptuous sound. Oh, but I already have. You're here, aren't you? No one knows you're gone. No one will care. You're just a nobody, Hannah. An inconvenience. His words stung, trying to strip her worth. But in that moment, something shifted inside Hannah. A fierce, hot anger, unexpected, rose above her fear. She was not a nobody. She was Hannah Rossi. She had a name, a bakery, a grandmother's memory. She would not let this man erase her. She would not let him win. I won't sign, she said, voice clear, steady, resolute. A quiet act of rebellion. Jensen's eyes narrowed. His smirk vanished, replaced by cold fury. You truly are a fool, then. A dead fool walking. He signaled to the large man. The man stepped forward, his shadow falling ominously. Hannah braced herself, heart thundering. She closed her eyes, taking a shaky breath. But then, a sound. Distant at first, a muffled rumble. Then closer, rapidly. Sirens? No. Too fast. Too brutal. It sounded like metal tearing, like something massive crashing. The ground vibrated. Jensen frowned, his confident facade cracking. He exchanged a quick, confused look with his man. What was that noise? Before anyone could answer, the building shook violently. A thunderous crash echoed, closer now. Dust rained down. The light bulb flickered wildly. Then the door burst open. Not the one they entered. Another, opposite. It splintered inward with an explosive crack, torn from its hinges. A figure stood framed in the doorway, tall, imposing. A dark, powerful silhouette against the brilliant light outside. He wore a dark, tailored suit. His face was hard, unyielding. His eyes, like chips of ice, scanned the room. They landed on Hannah, saw her bound wrists, the terror, the defiance. Then his gaze snapped to Jensen. Jalen Volkov. He looked like a force of nature unleashed, surrounded by his men, all armed, silent, radiating deadly efficiency. Their presence filled the room, swallowing the air, pushing back the shadows. Jensen's men, menacing moments before, now looked small and afraid. Their bravado shattered. Jensen stared, his face draining of color, turning ashen. Volkov? He stammered, voice thin, laced with terror. What are you doing here? This is not your concern. Jalen ignored him, gaze fixed on Hannah, assessing her. He saw the marks on her wrists, the residual fear, the spark of rebellion. A flicker of something, deep and dangerous, passed through his dark eyes. A promise of retribution. "Untie her," Jalen ordered. His voice a low, dangerous growl, cold as steel. It filled the room. An absolute command. No one moved fast enough. Jalen took a decisive step forward. One of his men, quicker, was already by Hannah's side. He cut the ropes with a swift knife movement. Hannah's hands were free. She rubbed her raw wrists. Her eyes, wide with disbelief and relief, met Jalen's. "You're safe now," Jalen said, his voice softer but still firm, unwavering. A promise. A command. A shield. He then turned his full, terrifying attention to Jensen. "Who took her?" he asked, voice deceptively quiet. "A predator before the kill." Jensen tried to regain composure. "This is my business, Volkov. She refused to sell. I was persuading her. That's all." Jalen took another step, closing the distance. His men fanned out, surrounding Jensen's crew, disarming them. The air crackled with tension, thick with unspoken threats. "She's an innocent," Jalen stated, voice a cold declaration. "You do not touch the innocent, not in my city. You broke the rules, Jensen. My rules." Jensen visibly paled, sweat beading. His bravado crumbled. "Please, Volkov, I made a mistake. I didn't know the girl was under your protection." Jalen let out a humorless laugh, harsh, dismissive. "She wasn't. Not until you touched her. Not until you broke my rules. Now she is." His eyes were cold steel. "And now, Jensen, you will pay. Dearly." Hannah watched, stunned. This man, Jalen Volkov, a name she knew from rumors, a powerful, dangerous figure. He had come for her, broken down walls, defied rules, risked everything. In his eyes she saw not just danger, but fierce protection. Chaos had begun, but in the heart of it, a strange calm settled over Hannah. She was free. He had come for her. The room erupted. Jensen's men, startled and outnumbered, tried to resist, a futile struggle. But Jalen's crew was a machine, precise, brutal, unstoppable. Sounds of struggle, commands, shattering glass filled the air. Hannah stood frozen, her wrists still stung. Her mind raced. She watched the chaos unfold. Terrifying, brutal, but exhilarating. This was freedom. Jalen didn't take his eyes off Jensen. His men quickly subdued Jensen's crew. Eric, precise and deadly, moved with practiced ease. Within minutes, the fight was over. Jensen's men lay on the ground, defeated. Jensen stood alone, isolated, face a mask of fear and fury. "You can't do this, Volkov. This is an act of war. You'll regret this." Jalen slowly approached him, posture calm, presence chilling. "War? No, Jensen. This is a lesson. A very painful lesson in consequences." He stopped in front of him, eyes burning into Jensen's. "You thought you could take an innocent. You thought you could do whatever you wanted in my city." Jalen reached into his inner jacket pocket. He pulled out the silver locket. Hannah's locket. He held it up. The broken chain dangled, glinting. "This is how I found out about your foolishness. This little piece of silver, lying on the street. A direct challenge. A blatant disregard for what is mine to protect." Jensen looked at the locket, eyes widening in horror. He hadn't realized how deep he had stepped into something dangerous. He had truly underestimated Jalen Volkov. Jalen leaned in close, voice a low, menacing whisper. "You have no idea the storm you unleashed. You think a bakery is worth your life? Worth your entire operation? Your foolish pride will cost you everything." Jensen began to sweat. His bravado crumbled. "Please, Volkov, I made a mistake. I didn't know the girl was under your protection." Jalen straightened, gaze cold, unforgiving. "Ignorance is not an excuse. Not when you hurt the innocent. Not when you break my rules." He turned to Eric. Take him, and shut down everything he owns. His casino, clubs, development projects, every single asset. He will lose everything, and he will disappear, permanently and painfully. Eric nodded. Two of Jalen's men grabbed Jensen, who struggled uselessly. They dragged him away, his cries fading. The room fell silent once more. Dust settled, the air thick with aftermath. A different calm now. The cold, precise calm of victory. Jalen turned to Hannah. She still stood near the shattered wall, watching him face a mixture of fear, shock, and dawning understanding. He had just torn down an empire for her, for an innocent baker. He walked towards her, slowly. His dark eyes softened. He held out the locket. "This belongs to you," he said, his voice no longer hard, deep, gentle. Hannah hesitated, then reached out and took the locket. Her fingers brushed his, a spark, a jolt. His skin was warm, strong, real. She looked at the silver in her palm, her grandmother's locket. He had brought it back. He had found her. He had saved her. "Thank you," she whispered, words feeling inadequate. I still don't understand." "Why?" Jalen looked at her, his gaze intense, searching, holding hers. "Because," he began, voice low, deep, "you're safe now, and no one touches what is mine to protect. Not in my city, and certainly not without severe consequence." He had called her mine, not possessive, but fiercely protective. A strange warmth spread through Hannah, chasing away the cold fear. This dangerous man, this powerful force, had claimed her safety as his responsibility. He had seen her vulnerability. He had acted with brutal efficiency. The external battle was over, but a new, unexpected connection had just begun, between a powerful, ruthless boss and a fragile, resilient baker. A bond forged in fire and fear. A connection neither had seen coming, but one that now felt profoundly real. Jalen led Hannah out of the chaos. His men secured the area, moving with efficiency. The cool night air felt like a balm, a contrast to the stifling fear. She felt unsteady, but a lightness began to fill her, profound relief. As they neared a waiting black car, Hannah looked at Jalen. He moved with quiet, powerful authority, a force of nature under calm control. He opened the car door for her. She hesitated, then slid inside. The car's interior was plush, luxurious, contrasting with the cold room. Jalen joined her in the back. Eric was in the driver's seat, starting the engine. "Where are we going?" Hannah asked, voice still a fragile whisper. Jalen met her gaze, his dark eyes softening. "Somewhere safe. My home. You need to rest, to heal." Not a question or an offer, a firm promise. At his large, quiet estate, a sprawling mansion nestled outside the city, Hannah found refuge. A warm, peaceful room. A long, hot shower washed away the grime and terror. She ate a nourishing meal, the first truly good food in days. Jalen watched over her, silent but present, ensuring her comfort without pressing for words. He simply let her be, in safety, in quiet. Over the next few days, Hannah slowly began to heal. Physically, cuts and bruises faded. Emotionally, intense fear receded, replaced by relief, gratitude. She spent hours in the quiet, manicured gardens, breathing fresh air, feeling sunlight, reconnecting with the world. Jalen checked on her often. His gestures were small but deeply meaningful. Fresh tea, a warm throw, a thoughtful book. He respected her space, but his presence was a constant, solid comfort. She began to truly understand him. This powerful, dangerous man, known for ruthless control, showed her unexpected, gentle protection. He was a man of few words, but his actions spoke clearly. He had found her locket. He had risked everything, dismantled an empire to save her. One evening, he found her by a large window, looking out at the starry night sky. "The bakery is safe," he said, voice low, peaceful. "Jensen's operations have been dismantled. His properties seized, assets frozen. The bakery property is legally and irrevocably yours again. No one will ever threaten it, or you, for it. Not ever." Hannah turned to him, eyes wide with awe and boundless gratitude. "You did all that? For me? For my bakery?" He simply nodded, gaze unwavering, dark eyes holding deep conviction. "It was always yours. It remains yours. And now, it is untouchable." She looked at him, truly seeing past the dangerous aura. He was a protector, a formidable force who used his power for justice, for her. He had given her back her life, her legacy, her identity. And in doing so, he had, undeniably, become an intrinsic part of her world, a powerful anchor. "How can I ever thank you?" she whispered, words hopelessly inadequate. Jalen stepped closer. His hand reached out, gently touching her cheek, thumb brushing softly. His touch was warm, a silent, powerful reassurance that spoke volumes. "Just be safe," he said, voice a husky whisper, gaze holding hers, an unspoken connection passing between them, deep and profound. "That's all I ask, Hannah. To be safe." In his eyes, she saw something deep and complex. A lonely strength, the weight of a man burdened by immense power, who had found an unexpected, profound reason to protect. And in her, a vulnerable woman, now stronger, more resilient than she knew, who had found an unlikely, unshakable safe harbor in the heart of a storm. Her broken world had been rebuilt, piece by precious piece, by a dangerous man who found her locket and saved her life. Their story was only just beginning, a testament to protection, survival, and the most unexpected kind of love. This story shows that strength comes in many forms, sometimes in the quiet resolve of a baker, and sometimes in the formidable power of a boss. It teaches us that love can appear in the most unexpected places, forged in fire and unexpected kindness. Hannah's fragile locket, a symbol of her past, led to Jalen's powerful rescue, shaping an incredible future. A dangerous protector, a vulnerable woman, and a bond forged in fear, hope, and absolute conviction. If you were moved by their extraordinary journey from terror to an unlikely safety, you're definitely in the right place. Our channel is dedicated to these high-stakes romantic dramas that keep you on the edge of your seat, craving more. Don't miss another moment of these thrilling tales. Hit that subscribe button right now to join our growing community. Give this video a thumbs up if you found yourself rooting for Hannah and Jalen's unexpected connection and their powerful story. And make sure to click the notification bell so you're always the first to know when our next dramatic story drops, straight to your feed. Now, for you, our amazing viewers. What was the most surprising moment in Hannah and Jalen's journey for you? Was it the sudden, brutal abduction that started it all? Or Jalen's explosive, righteous rescue? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. We love hearing your insights and connecting with our community of romance drama lovers. Join us next time for more captivating stories where danger meets destiny, and unexpected heroes find love in the most thrilling, high-stakes circumstances imaginable. Until then, stay safe and keep believing in powerful, unforgettable connections.